I'm at a loss for words here. I mean, I've never played a game like this before. I'm completely astounded, flabbergasted, mind boggled even. I just can't put into words to describe this game. So I wrote it down. Awesome, perfect, beautiful, perfect, well crafted, perfect, exquisite, perfect, superb. And did I mention perfect? Well, that's how stupendous Dust in Elysian Tale is.
I have seen perfection, and Dust in Elysian Tale is not only perfection, but goes beyond it. This is a game that is truly a labor of love. This is a masterpiece, a magnum opus. You want proof of that? This game won Microsoft's XNA Dream Build Play Grand Prize. The creator of this game, Dean Doudrell, is an animator and a very good one at that. He had worked on Jazz Jackrabbit games until Epic Games laid him off because they didn't know how to balance their budget properly. He then went to work on his own animated film titled Elysian Tale, around the year 2000, which isn't complete yet. It's just really him and his wife who are making it. But this game made its way to completion, and aside from some voice acting and writing, the entire game was done by Doudrell himself.
I'm gonna say this right now. I paid $15 for this game and I feel like I underpaid. I want to give this guy $45 more.
Graphically, this is the most beautiful game I've ever seen. You can tell that everything is drawn by hand and then scanned into the computer, giving it a traditional animated look, something that we don't see very often anymore. Looking at this game is like looking at a painting hanging in a museum. The music is fantastic. Every track hits every note perfectly and matches the level design and syncs with the action without missing a beat. I actually want the soundtrack to this game. I just love this music. And when you attack, every hit that lands strikes a musical chord, adding more to the background music, making it even better to listen to. The voice acting is really good too. The voices match the characters very well, and the voice actors do an amazing job of conveying the emotions that the characters are going through, making them come alive. The story is written very well. You play as Dust, a character with amnesia and is on a quest to find out who he is. Dust is aided by a magical talking sword called the Sword of Ara, and Fidget, a creature known as a Nimbat, who is the sword's guardian.
Unlike Shank, which had a bleh story, Dust in Elysian Tale has an amazing story that keeps you going because you want to know what happens.
The writing is perfect. You care about these characters. In fact, you will love them because they're all written so very well and feel very real. And because Dust starts off not knowing who he is, you get to watch him develop, and you start to really feel for him as his past and who he really is gets revealed little by little, causing you to really feel for him, especially when the big reveal happens. And I'm not going to tell you because it's just too awesome. You'll have to play the game to find out. Fidget is the comic relief. She's silly and just overall very adorable, not just in looks, but in personality. She often breaks the fourth wall, like saying not to get in Dust's way when he's attacking, and if the NPC has seen the screen flash and whatnot. Ara doesn't seem to talk that much, as it's really just Dust and Fidget. He only speaks when something needs explaining that the other characters can't, such as when he explains the concept of death to Fidget, but he lets on that he knows a lot more than what he says he does.
The interaction with the three main characters is done very well. They form an unbreakable bond of friendship with each other, especially Dust and Fidget.
At first, the story starts off about discovering who Dust is, but changes as there's bigger problems happening, and Dust, out of a sense of compassion and morality, helps everyone that he comes across, which makes you really like him later on. And even though he can't remember who he is, it's not cliche and does something different with it, but saying what it is will spoil the surprise. The story also does a really good job at tugging at your heart too. There are some really sad moments that make you feel for the characters. There are moments when the story takes a dark turn but yet shows that there's something good on the horizon.
Gameplay-wise, it's a hybrid. At its core, it's an RPG, but it has action elements mixed in with some platforming too.
The control layout is really good. A jumps, X attacks, Y uses the dust storm, B uses Fidget's attack, LB uses an item, RB cycles through Fidget's abilities, and LT and RT will dodge in that direction. You can chain attacks together to perform spectacular combos on the hordes of enemies that will spawn, and you can chain the hits together very, very quickly. You can get up to a 1,000 hit combo and beyond. Even though Fidget's attacks look weak, you can combine them with a dust storm and you'll do a lot of damage. You'll gain techniques as you go through the areas, either it be Fidget's magical abilities or abilities for Dust like double jumping or sliding. You get experience through quests and killing monsters, but you gain bonus experience by chaining your attacks. The higher your chain, the more bonus experience you'll get. But if you get hit, the chain is broken and you lose all that bonus experience. You also have an energy meter. It's used for dodging and Fidget's magic. And the nice thing about dodging is that you'll always land facing the opposite direction in which you dodged. So if you dodge to the left, you'll be facing the right. Why is this good? Because you don't have to turn around to attack enemies, as you'll be automatically facing them.
It's got a really nice difficulty too that scales very well as the game goes on. It's not too easy, but it's not crazy difficult either.
There will be areas that are harder than others though, but I do recommend doing as many side quests as you can, because you may come to an area that seems ungodly difficult, but only because you're not high enough level. And there's quite a bit of quests too. You get them in the main town of Aurora, and they'll lead you to different areas so you can explore this beautiful landscape, ranging from the fields to underground caverns to the top of snow-covered mountains. I also recommend backtracking to areas you've visited to previously. You'll uncover new sections of the map that will only be available to you once you get an ability like the double jump or the slide. You may even discover challenge areas that will reward you with equipment.
And the equipment that you get will last quite a while too, so look for the challenge dungeons as soon as you can.
Now you'll have to remember, at the core, this is an RPG, so you will have to grind. But the grinding in this game isn't bad. In fact, it's very fun, and you won't even notice you're doing it because you'll be having way too much fun. What adds to the challenge of this game is that there are no inns for which you can rest and get all your HP back, at least not that I've found. So you'll be buying food a lot to replenish your health, and the food can get expensive, so you'll be grinding more for money than you will experience. However, money won't be that much of a problem though. You'll also be getting a lot of materials that will drop from the monsters, and if you sell them to a vendor, you can buy them back as the shops will catalog them. However, find the blacksmith as soon as you can. Don't make the same mistake I did and wait till the very end of the game to find her. The blacksmith can make gear for you a lot cheaper than the vendor sells it for, as long as you have the materials.
The idea is to keep a perfect balance of money, materials, and food. And if you don't do that, this game will kick your ass towards the end of it.
Every time you level, you get a skill gem. You can use that gem to increase your health, attack, defense, or Fidget's powers, but you only get one gem per level, so make sure that you're sure about what stat you want to increase. The game also doesn't let you favor one stat over the other. Sure, you can pour all your gems into attack power, but you can only go so far without augmenting your other stats. So far, I've put 10 hours into this game and I've only completed 60% of it, so it's not going to be a game that you can sit down and finish in 3 hours like most games nowadays. I like my games to be pretty long too, then I know I got my money's worth, but with this game, I got way more than I expected.
There's also a lot of little things in this game, little jokes and references that'll put a smile on your face.
There's slight references to other games. One of the biggest references is the shopkeeper that you run into everywhere. Does he look familiar? Well, he should. And if not, Fidget makes a reference for you.
Ah, he'll buy them at a high price.
I like these little references. It adds some great entertainment to the game. And you could come across lock cages that will release what's called friends. I think that these are characters that are from games that were in Microsoft's X&A Dream Build Play competition. They don't do anything, but you can see them at the Sanctuary. This game is only 600 megabytes big, and you get so much. I'm actually astounded that they were able to cram so much into such a small amount of space. I've seen games take up 2 gigs and not give you anywhere near this much content and game time.
Unfortunately, I can't rate Dust in Elysian Tale properly. It goes far beyond Gift from God and Legendary. It gets 100 out of 10, 10 out of 5 stars. If you have an Xbox, get this game. If you don't have an Xbox, get one. You need one. I cannot recommend this game enough. It goes far beyond perfection, past the heavens and into the deepest reaches of the galaxy, shining brighter than any star ever could.